He called her the welcoming angel, until the surveillance tapes revealed she never actually left the airport. If you're someone who believes in quiet stories with deep meaning, you're in the right place. This is Quiet Tales Studio, standing just past the velvet rope at Terminal C of McAllen Regional Airfield. She waited. Not with a sign, not with a name. Just stood with calm hands folded at her waist, her long, pale coat buttoned all the way to her throat, a navy blue scarf twisted into a loose knot beneath her chin. Passengers stepped through the automatic doors with weary eyes and scuffed boots. Families reunited, children screamed, officers saluted, mothers sobbed. But always, without fail, someone would catch sight of her. They'd nudge the person next to them, whisper, "She's here again." The regulars called her the welcoming angel. She never caused trouble, never interfered, just watched, nodded quietly when a soldier passed by, sometimes placing a single hand on the shoulder of the particularly broken ones. And always, she vanished into the crowd. Javier Morales had been working airport security for nearly 8 years. He saw all kinds of things, missing bags, surprise reunions, even the occasional fight, but nothing ever struck him as strange as that woman. "You know she's not on the manifest, right?" said Tanya, his colleague. "Yeah," Javier replied, scanning the arrivals list again. "Not a passenger, not staff, not even TSA. So how does she keep getting through security?" Javier shrugged. "No idea. I checked the feeds yesterday. She was already at the terminal before the first flight even landed. You think she works here? She has no badge, no ID." It became an obsession. Javier started pulling surveillance archives. 5 weeks, 12 flights. She was at 11 of them. Same spot, same coat, same stillness. But in every footage, no departure. She just wasn't there anymore once the terminal cleared. No exit, no restroom detour, no stairwell, no staff doors, just gone. He even checked badge entry logs, restroom sensors, and air vent crawl spaces. Nothing. It was like she only existed when people needed her, and then evaporated. "Maybe she's some kind of emotional projection," Tanya joked one night, half serious, half spooked. "Like a collective memory." Javier didn't laugh. "She's real. I've seen her blink." Except she never actually did. Private Luke Henderson returned home from deployment in Kandahar with a shattered femur and a scar splitting his cheekbone. He didn't remember much from the arrival gate, but he remembered her. "There was this woman," he told the VA therapist. "She touched my shoulder, looked me dead in the eyes, didn't say a word, but I felt calm." What did she look like? White coat, black hair, eyes like she'd seen everything and forgot none of it. The therapist tilted her head. "That sounds like the woman in Terminal C." Luke blinked. "You know her?" "Everyone knows her, but no one knows who she is." He later drew a sketch from memory. When Javier saw the sketch, he froze. It was her, down to the lines beneath her eyes. Javier brought it up to his supervisor, a full incident report. "You realize you're reporting a ghost, Morales." "I'm reporting someone who doesn't follow exit protocol." His supervisor smirked. "Fine. Set up a shadow team. Quiet. No uniforms. See if she shows up again." They didn't have to wait long. Tuesday, 16:25 hours. A chartered flight carrying veterans from Joint Task Force Polaris landed on the tarmac. She was already there. The team watched from all angles. One operative zoomed in on her face. Another tracked her shoes. Javier monitored every feed. She walked to the side, knelt before a soldier with a cane, whispered something. He started crying. Then she stood, looked directly at the closest camera, as if she knew. But something new happened. A child, maybe 10, walked over and hugged her leg. The woman smiled gently, bent down, and whispered in the girl's ear, then turned and was gone. Suddenly, alarms triggered on the restricted access door. Simultaneously, the motion sensors in the maintenance tunnels flickered for the first time in years. A backup generator kicked on, briefly, before returning to standby. "She's moving through somewhere," Javier muttered, racing toward the service level. But every hallway was empty. Only a faint trace of perfume lingered in the air. They replayed the footage 17 times, each time the same anomaly. At 16:49:34, the camera caught her turning away. At 16:49:36, she was gone. No fade, no cut, no glitch, just gone. "You think it's edited?" asked Tanya. "From inside the live feed? No, that's not editing. That's something else." They sent the footage to an independent forensics lab. The verdict: no tampering. But the analyst added one note: if this is real, it rewrites what we know about presence. The Department of Defense called the airport 3 days later. "We heard there was an incident. Terminal C, a woman." "You heard? Let's just say she's appeared before. In Ramstein, in Bagram, in Okinawa." Javier leaned forward. "So she's military?" The agent sighed. "She was, we think. Her name was Elara King, Army Nurse Corps. And you think she's, what, a ghost? I think sometimes a soldier's mission doesn't end when the war does." "What do you want us to do?" "Let her be. And keep the cameras rolling." 2 months later, Javier received a package. No return address. Inside, 3 printed photos, all from different years, different airports, different continents. In each, a woman in white standing at an arrival gate. Identical. On the back of one photo, handwritten, "Some angels wear boots, too." A week after, a man visited Javier, middle-aged, clean-cut, quiet eyes. Said he served with Elara. "She saved my life in 2005. That gate, that's where I last saw her. And every year, on the same date, she's there. For someone." "Why tell me now?" Javier asked. "Because now, she's showing up for more, for people who never knew her. And maybe that means something. Maybe someone finally started listening." The next flight arrived at 18:02. A Marine captain stepped through the doors, limping. He looked up, scanning the crowd, and froze. There she was. But this time, it wasn't just her. Behind her stood a line of others, all in white. Men, women, young, old. Faces from old wars, long forgotten. Wars no one even wrote about anymore. And every single one of them stood at attention. The Marine fell to his knees. Javier rushed to the monitors. The camera feeds all blurred for a second, and when they cleared, there was no one there. No white coats, no line of forgotten warriors, just a man weeping at the gate. The next morning, a new brass plaque appeared in Terminal C. No one saw who installed it, but it read, "In honor of those who still arrive, even if they never left." And below it, in small print, EK, MIA, never truly gone. After the plaque appeared, Terminal C changed, not in structure, but in feeling. Veterans began arriving unannounced, some traveling from other states. Many had never been to McAllen, but claimed they felt compelled to come. Some received anonymous letters. Others just had dreams of a woman in white whispering, "It's time." Javier took notice. In a month, 47 former soldiers, sailors, and medics passed through the terminal without explanation. Several of them cried upon entry, despite no family waiting for them. One man collapsed on the tile floor, whispering, "She forgave me." The most unsettling moment came during a maintenance shutdown, cameras off, systems rebooting. And yet, when they checked the offline feed from the hallway between Terminal C and the unused loading tunnel, there she was, Elara. Not alone this time. With her were 3 others, all in white. One holding a field medical kit, another in full 1960s flight gear. Javier shook his head. No, it's becoming a place where memory fights back. Word began to spread. Terminal C was now whispered about in veteran groups, private chats, forums. People didn't post photos. They didn't dare tag location, but the stories grew. A father who hadn't spoken since Iraq walked through Terminal C and called his daughter right after. A medic who struggled with guilt for decades left a note on the terminal wall. "She forgave me. I can breathe now." But the most chilling event came when an airline clerk found a handwritten manifest tucked behind the desk. It wasn't typed, it wasn't printed. It listed names. Some were crossed out, dates written beside them. Others still waited. Among them, Javier Morales. Javier didn't sleep that night. The manifest wouldn't leave his mind. The way the names were written, with care, with purpose, it felt like more than a list. It felt like a map, a final call sheet. He searched for the names online. Some were familiar. One was a retired Navy flight engineer from Kansas. Another, a Coast Guard diver who'd been lost at sea for 3 days in 1992. All of them had one thing in common. They had disappeared, mentally or emotionally, after returning from service, and every one of the crossed-out names had recently either reunited with family or passed away peacefully. It wasn't death Elara was bringing. It was closure. Javier returned to Terminal C the next evening, as if drawn by gravity. A fog hung just outside the glass walls. Flights were delayed. The lights flickered again. He stepped out onto the tarmac, unauthorized, but no one stopped him. She was there. Elara stood just beyond the service gate. This time her scarf fluttered in the wind, her face turned toward him, not down, not distant. She looked at him, really looked. He walked forward slowly. No words. She stepped closer. From her coat pocket she pulled something, a small badge, Javier's own, the one he'd lost during a training drill 5 years ago. He stared. "You were never invisible," she whispered. Then she reached for his hand, not to pull him away, but to steady him. And behind her, they gathered again. The line of the forgotten. Faces from black and white photos, names erased from after-action reports, all standing. A new plaque gleamed beside the old one, for those who never needed medals to be remembered. As the gate lights flickered one final time, Elara turned, walked through the mist, and this time Javier followed, but not to leave, to return, because some arrivals are about coming home in silence. Did this story move you? Tell us in the comments. Have you ever felt the presence of someone even when they weren't supposed to be there? Hit like if Elara's silent watch deserves to be honored. Subscribe for more stories where memory whispers louder than history books, only at Quiet Tales Studio.